Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? Today is Wednesday, May 29, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, they launch in Philadelphia their black voter outreach effort called Black Voters for Biden-Harris. If you didn't hear about it, that's no shock because mainstream media didn't cover it. And frankly, they didn't really prep black-owned media for today's announcement. I'll break it all down. Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito will not recuse himself from 2 cases related to the insurrection after reports that flags displayed outside his 2 homes appear to support the Stop the Steal movement. No shock. The world is waiting for a verdict in the Donald Trump hush money trial. The, of course, jury went home for the night after asking a couple of questions. Marjorie Taylor Greene goes viral after getting spotted in a D.C. airport. We'll talk to the woman who called the MAGA racists out. Plus, comedian Gary Johnson is going to stop by and talk about his new comedy special, Sit Your Ass Down, premiering Thursday on All Black. It is time in our TikTok segment. 2 brothers created an app that will take you back in time to experience Chicago's South Side, provide a look at what it was like to live in the Bronzeville area in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris made a joint campaign appearance today in Philadelphia to launch their Blacks for Biden Harris. It is the outreach effort that will define this campaign over the next 5 months. The initiative comes with Biden's approval ratings among African Americans at dangerous low levels. And so we're going to be, of course, breaking this whole thing down, as we always do. Here is Vice President Kamala Harris today.
Yes, you did. And in 2024, with your voice and your power, we will win again. Philadelphia, in Joe Biden, we have a fighter, a leader with skill, vision, determination, and compassion. A leader who keeps his promises. As a candidate for president, Joe Biden gave his word that we would fight to address some of the biggest issues facing the Black community, and we have delivered. In 2020, Joe Biden and I vowed that we would lower the cost of health care like insulin. For far too many years, too many of our seniors with diabetes had to make the awful decision about either filling their prescription or paying their rent. And Black Americans are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. So we capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. And under Joe Biden's leadership, finally, we took on Big Pharma and finally gave Medicare the power to negotiate drug prices. We also took on the issue of debt, which makes so many people feel like they can never get ahead. Take, for example, medical debt. We are now making it so medical debt can no longer be included on your credit score. So that medical debt cannot impact a person's ability to get a car loan, an apartment lease, or a home loan. In 2020, we promised to forgive student loan debt You want to see people testifying? Can I get a witness? And I'll tell you, I have a unique position as vice president to spend a lot of time with our president. And on this subject, I remember sitting in the Oval Office with our president, Joe Biden, shortly after the United States Supreme Court struck down our initial plan to forgive billions of dollars in student loan debt. A different leader, a different kind of leader, would have thrown in the towel. Not Joe Biden. Not Joe Biden. And I'm going to tell you what he said that day. I'm going to tell you what he said that day. This is not over. On the line. Black Americans, I'm going to quote, excuse the language, what the hell do you have to lose from a Trump presidency? And sadly, we all know too well, when he was president, Donald Trump tried over and over to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and to take health care then from millions of Black Americans. Year after year, he proposed cuts to Social Security and Medicare so that so many of our seniors would be deprived on what they rely on to live with dignity. And then he handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court, the Court of Thurgood, with the intention that they would overturn Roe v. Wade, and as he intended, they did. And today, 1 in 3 women and more than half of Black women of reproductive age live in a state with an abortion ban, a Trump abortion ban. And if he wins a second term, I promise you he's going to go even further. So all of this is to say, who sits in the White House matters. It matters. It matters for the people of the world. As vice president, I've now met with over 150 world leaders, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors, and kings. And I cannot tell you how many times one of those leaders has pulled me aside and talked about how much the world relies on us and on Joe Biden's leadership. His defense of democracy, his commitment to the ideals of freedom and liberty and equality, and his willingness to fight for these ideals. And as the people of Pennsylvania know, our president does not only know how to fight, he knows how to win. In 2020, we promised to take on the issue of the epidemic of gun violence, knowing that today in America, gun violence is the #1 cause of the death of the children of America. Not car accidents, not cancer, gun violence. We took on the issue knowing Black Americans are 10 times as likely to be the victim of gun homicide. And I'll tell you, I have personally held too many hands of mothers and fathers as I attempted to comfort them after their child was killed by gun violence. So to address this crisis, under the president's leadership, we passed the first major gun safety law in nearly 30 years. A bipartisan law to strengthen background checks. And again, I sat in the Oval Office with the president, where he sat down with Democrats and Republicans and appealed to their better selves. And that's why, for the first time in 30 years, it happened as a bipartisan deal. We created the first White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, which I lead, and has now invested $1 billion to hire mental health counselors in public schools to help heal the mental trauma of gun violence. And Philadelphia, in all of our work, the president has been guided by a fundamental belief. We work for you, the American people, not the special interests, not the billionaires or the big corporations, but the people.
President Joe Biden also took it to Donald Trump, and this is what he had to say here.
It's the same guy who wanted to tear gas you as you peacefully protested George Floyd's murder. The same guy who still calls the Central Park Five guilty, even though they were exonerated. He's that landlord who denies housing applications because of the color of your skin. He's that guy who won't say Black Lives Matter and invokes neo-Nazi Third Reich terms. We all remember Trump is the same guy who unleashed birthism, the birthism lie against Barack. And then Trump tells you he's the greatest president. I love this one. He says he's the greatest president for black people in the history of America, including more than Abraham Lincoln. I mean, can you fathom that? Where in the hell? Like I said, I think he injected too much of that bleach in his country. I think it affected his brain.
All right, folks. So the event was held today in Philadelphia, and there's several things I got to speak to, and that is, first and foremost, I don't understand how the campaign decided to have this major initiative rollout, this major rollout that was one of the most quiet kept. They had a number of people who were there, a number of black elected officials, Governor Wes Moore, Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore. You had Aaron Ford, who is the, he was the, of course, the Attorney General in Nevada. So, again, I'm not understanding why a bigger deal wasn't made of this. I didn't find out about it till this morning when they sent out about 5 a.m. this directive. This is the press release right here, y'all. You see it right here. This is the media advisory from yesterday. President Biden and Vice President Harris to hold campaign event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On Wednesday, May 29th, President Biden and Vice President Harris will travel to Philadelphia for a campaign event. Additional details to follow. This was sent out yesterday, let's see here, at 11:30 a.m. That was it. That's it? That's how you explain that. So you're doing this whole big rollout. Congresswoman Barbara Lee, working a phone bank there. So all these different things. Again, my thinking is if you're rolling out this major initiative, you do it big. Any black entertainers there performing? You had 4 speakers, a young woman, you had a small business owner, the vice president, the president. That was it. And guess what? MSNBC didn't carry it live. CNN didn't carry it live. So what happened here? The reason I'm saying all of this is because this is the kind of thing that I've been talking about in terms of how do you reach black voters and how do you, in terms of what's the game plan to do so. And so I was texting several people today trying to figure out what the hell was going on, scrambling, sitting here, okay? And here's the deal. Had somebody given me a heads up yesterday, I would have driven to Philadelphia. I would have broadcast this show from Philadelphia. all those other black folks who were there, 1,000 people that rally, you would have seen their faces, heard from them. I would have had sound bites, all kind of stuff right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. But the campaign didn't tell anybody. That makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me. So they're going to be doing things over the next several days. Got events in Virginia. Here's my advice to the Biden-Harris campaign. Have a black media strategy to tell black people. I think in many ways, today's event was treated like it's a local event. You don't roll out a national initiative and you treat it like it's a local event. Are they going to be flooding black syndicated radio shows? I hope so. Are they going to be offering up people to come on this show and others and podcasts? I hope so. I'm just saying, today's event left a lot to be desired. My panel joins me right now. Rebecca Carruthers, Vice President, Fair Elections Center out of D.C. Robert Patillo, host, People, Passion, Politics, News Talk 1380 WAOK out of Atlanta. Julianne Malveaux, economist and author out of Washington, D.C. You know, this is listen, the thing here, Rebecca, it was very frustrating for me today to wake up and I see this notice, and it was in the Washington Post, and it was like, what the hell is this? Where did this come from? And I had black media people hit me, had no idea what's going on, who knew. And then, so they had pool coverage. Well, I had to explain to the campaign, you got to pay to be a part of the pool. So if you don't, on the pool coverage, you don't get the video. And so it's like, I just don't get it. I just don't get what, if you're going to roll out a national initiative, roll it out. There's a way to do it. For me, today, okay, and look, Brian Tyler, he went on MSNBC, he went on CNN, okay, but that's not how you do a rollout. That's just me.
Roland, I'm actually in Philadelphia right now. I've been here all day. And as I walked around the streets today, the only thing I heard people talk about was how bad traffic was. Oh, yeah, I think Biden and Vice President Harris is here today. But no one knew what they were going to talk about. No one knew what this aspect of the campaign is about. And this includes black folks that I talked to. I was actually in town today to talk to a bunch of Philadelphia district high school students about voting and the need to register to vote and the need to be a part of community and to get engaged and get informed. So even here in the city in which they were campaigning, there wasn't a lot of information for people who were here in the city who I guess were the targets. Right.
So if you're going to roll out this major initiative, my deal is you hype that up. I mean, it's like, Harris, Biden, they're coming. Launch this major initiative next week. Here are the folks who are going to be here. And then what you do is you fan people out. I mean, again, it's like if this was, I guess this is supposed to be a national rollout. I don't know really what the hell it was. I'm just being straight up honest. And again, I've been texting campaign people all day. I've been on the phone. I've been calling other people. And I'm like, okay, if this is supposed to be the major thing it is, who knew?
The politicians might have known about it, but guess what? The activists, the people who actually knock doors and turn out voters across Pennsylvania, especially black voters in Philadelphia County, some of them aren't even in Philadelphia today. They're out of town at a conference preparing for the fall. So like the total lack of strategy here, it bewilders me. But here's the other thing that caught me off guard is for months and for years, we have been criticizing this administration for not talking to black folks. Listening to them and the soundbite that you played at the top of the show, they are talking to black voters. But guess what black folks need first? We need them to talk to us as equals. We need them to talk to us as constituents before you turn around and talk to us as voters. Because when you're talking to us as voters, it becomes purely transactional. And black people aren't feeling it this year. And it's going to be tough if this is how the Biden-Harris administration is rolling out their outreach to black voters.
This is what I have been saying on this show, on radio, on social. And so no one can say, oh, this is all new, Robert. I have been saying that the period from January to August is what I call information enlightenment stage. where you are having these town hall discussions, you're speaking to people, you're sitting here laying these things out, you're talking about policies, how they have helped people directly. Then the second phase is you're trying to then get them to register. The third phase is to get them to vote. I can't ask you to vote in May if I haven't explained to you what I've done. And not just what I've done, what I'm going to do over the next 4 years. I sat there and I heard what the vice president had to say. I heard what President Biden had to say. Do you know what I did not hear, Robert? I actually didn't hear, this is what I'm going to do for you if I get reelected. That's kind of important.
You're absolutely correct, Roland. And the problem is that the Biden administration or the Biden-Harris campaign, they want national attention without having to answer actual national questions. They're so afraid that any event that they have, if they publicize it, that you'll have anti-Palestine or anti-Israeli protesters there, that you'll have people interrupting the speech, running on stage, etc., that they don't want to publicize their events. And because of that, you kind of end up in this Gordian knot where you can't push these issues as much as you want because you're running afraid of Middle Eastern policy and understanding the close connection that many African Americans have with the plight of downtrodden people in Palestine. We saw the same thing last week in Atlanta at the Morehouse speech, where some of the students turned their back, and because of that, you didn't see them having an entire weekend of events around the president coming. Normally, the president comes to Atlanta, they show up, they go to Ebenezer, they tour the civil rights events, they have a town hall meeting on Friday with all the civil rights organizations, etc. They did none of that. They flew in under the radar, they zoomed into Morehouse, they gave a quick speech, and they zoomed out of Morehouse as fast as possible. I'd like to mention the commencement address at Clark Atlanta was far better. One of the best, Dr. Brown and require everybody to listen to that speech if you get a chance. But the Biden-Harris administration is going to have to stop running scared. They're going to have to realize that I cannot appeal to black people without offending some white people. And you're going to have to make a decision of which one of those voting bases was more important. That for everything that was done at that event in Pennsylvania today, having one sentence on reparations would have done more than everything the rest of that speech did. And yes, that will scare off some Midwestern Rust Belt voters, but those people are already going to vote MAGA anyway. And they had one sentence in there talking about, look, we didn't get criminal justice reform done, but this is how we're going to get it done before the fall. Or we didn't get voting rights done. This is how we're going to get it done before the fall. I just saw Mike Johnson go to the White House and strike a deal on foreign aid with President Biden when they said that could never happen at all. The reason they ousted McCarthy was over this issue of federal aid, foreign aid to Israel and Ukraine and Taiwan, etc., and they got it done. So don't tell me you can't negotiate on voting rights. Don't tell me you can't negotiate on criminal justice reform. So their message is falling on deaf ears, and they need to take all the black folks they got in that room in the White House making these black policies and just show them out the door. Bring Roland and some more folks in who really know how to talk to these communities. You're going to have to get on Black AM radio. You're going to have to get in and not just go on the Breakfast Club because you think that talks to the most people. You're going to have difficult conversations with the black community about what hasn't gotten done and what's going to need to get done. But if you just want these self-aggrandizing and campaign stops where you have no questions and you play flowery music, you're going to continue to see those numbers drop. I don't see a turnaround coming anytime soon.
Julian, let me be perfectly clear. Do I believe there needs to be a concerted effort to reach black voters? The answer is yes. Do I believe that what the vice president has been doing when she's been traveling, she went to Atlanta, she was in Detroit, they're planning other stops talking about economic policies? The answer is yes. But I also think it has to be different. I thought in Detroit, in Atlanta, there was Q&A with the guys with Earn Your Leisure. In Detroit, it was a traditional speech. In Milwaukee, it was a Q&A with D.L. Hughley. To me, though, I think they should be town hall conversations. I think there should be questions from a variety of people, again, talking about economic issues. I believe that, again, if you're going to have, and again, I'm sitting here looking at Twitter, and I'm looking at all of these different black elected officials who were there. You've got the Attorney General from Nevada, criminal justice issues, the governor of Maryland, the mayor of Baltimore, and other black mayors as well. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, great. That was a rally there that lasted 39 minutes. We live streamed it. 2 speakers, president and vice president. Okay, what else was there? Again, if this was the big national rollout, I'm sorry. It was like hot air being let out of a balloon because folk didn't know. This is just me. If I'm gonna have a national rollout of Blacks for Biden-Harris, it was at 2 p.m. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, okay, what Black syndicated radio show host is in afternoon drive time? That's D.L. Hughley. Hey, D.L., we want you broadcasting your show from the site of the rally. So when the rally is over, we're gonna take a lot of these officials and we're gonna walk them right over to you and have them on your show. That's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna sit here and say, I want other, if there are any radio talk show hosts who are in drive, look, Karen Hunter's show is in the afternoon, around the same afternoon, even the same time. I'm gonna have her there as well. Again, I'm actually trying to make this thing a big thing. That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting here thinking about Black podcasters. I'm thinking about Black digital shows. I'm thinking about Black influencers on social media. That's what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I didn't feel any of this. And I'm just like, and again, I was a little pissed this morning because I had no idea it was even happening. And I was like, and again, it's 2 hours down the road. I mean, I made clear, if they had said anything, I would be doing this show right now from Philadelphia, and even if it wasn't at that location, I would be at some Black location, and I would have Black folks from Philadelphia, activists and others on the air.
Roland,
you would see interviews. You would see interviews right now.
One of the clumsiest rollouts.
You would see. Hold on. You would see interviews. You would see interviews of Wes Moore, of Brandon Scott, the other Black mayors, of Aaron Ford. You will see all of that. That, to me, you've got to plan that stuff out to get maximum effect. The cable networks totally ignored it. And so I guarantee you, by this time tomorrow, if they look back and look at the coverage, you're going to literally see about that much coverage because, frankly, it wasn't rolled out properly.
Well, Roland, what I'm seeing is, first of all, I want to say something to Robert. I want to just say, congratulations, brother. You did a good job, and you keep it going. We appreciate your run. You did appreciate it. So I just want to say that to you while we're sitting here together. You my brother from Rainbow, and I appreciate you so much. That one is one of the clumsiest rollouts that I have ever seen. Clumsy, MF clumsy. Why be so clumsy? This is news. Meanwhile, the orange man is taking up the space of the world. Forgive me for wearing orange today. It is my favorite color, but whatever. But he's taking up all the space of the world. This could have been huge. It's not huge because they didn't call Roland Martin. They didn't call Karen Hunter. They didn't call anybody. They're sitting there underground in Philly like they ashamed of themselves. They shouldn't be ashamed of themselves. This is why Biden is going to have a very hard time winning. They have to thump themselves on the chest. They have to say, this is what we're doing. It's insufficient to go to Morehouse and then, as Robert said, then hide. You go there, you give a great speech, but then you run and hide. It's insufficient there's so many things that are just so insufficient. But President Biden should have had a meeting with Dr. Daniel Black, who was the commencement speaker at Clark Atlanta, who brought it. He should have had a one-on-one with him, a photo with him, something like that. He is running from his base, and in running from his base, others are running toward the orange man. This is just absurd. And I mean, you've nailed it. You put yourself out there, Roland, in so many ways to say, let's get this work done. But we've got a president who seems to be afraid of his own shadow. And it's wrong. And then our vice president, we love her, of course, we love her, but she doesn't have the bandwidth because she has to report to the president to do what she needs to do. So what we have happening here is a president who's done very good work. Very good work. The economy is doing okay. I'm not going to give it an A+, but maybe a B-. But considering the economy is doing okay, other things are doing okay, but guess what? The president is not holding his own. And he cannot be afraid of Black people. He simply can't. And he can't be afraid of the Middle Eastern issue. Everybody's not going to agree with him, but people respect him.
Well,
he can't run from it. You can't run and you can't hide.
I guess what, first of all, let me do this here. Let me go to a break and we'll come back. Because I'm going to give everybody examples of what I'm talking about here in terms of how I believe rollout has to happen, how you message, and how you're trying to appeal to Black voters. I'm going to deal with that when we come back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
If we look at all of the best mans, the movies, and then, of course, series on Peacock, why do you think it resonated so well?
Well, I think it's a reflection of us. You know, I think it's a reflection of authentic Black people, the way they see themselves. And in some instances, aspirationally so.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Latasha from The A.
And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered. So as I was looking through some of the social media posts of some of the different Black elected officials who were there today in Philadelphia, so Aaron Ford, who was the Nevada Attorney General, he actually posted this here, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And so this is a graphic here. The Biden-Harris record for Black Americans. Created 2.6 million jobs for Black workers, lowest Black unemployment rate on record, helped Black entrepreneurs start businesses at the fastest rate in 30 years, capped the cost of insulin at $35 for seniors, helped close the racial wealth gap by 60%, invested more than $16 billion in HBCUs, and billions in student loan debt forgiven, passed the most significant gun safety legislation in decades, appointed the most ever Black judges to the federal bench. It says Pennsylvania for Biden-Harris. Okay, I don't know who created that graphic. I think it's a great graphic. Here's what I don't understand. From a campaign standpoint, why wasn't that stuff kicked out everywhere? Everywhere. Everywhere. Not a white page, not a white paper, not a long speech, that graphic. Remember what we did the other day when we talked about federal judges? Okay, actually, I'm gonna show you, no, don't go to it yet. Don't go to it yet. Because I'm gonna show y'all something. What happened was there was a tweet that went out. There was a tweet that went out on the day, and it was from Chuck Schumer. And in that particular tweet, he talked about confirming that 200 federal judge. I was like, okay, it's a tweet, need a graphic. Graphic gotta be posted on various platforms. TikTok, Snapchat, these platforms. Here's what happened. So the next day, this was the graphic right here that was on Chuck Schumer's Twitter page. Go to it. Senate Democrats have confirmed 200 judges to lifetime appointments under President Biden. That's great. That's wonderful. Guess what? Want to see a Black-specific graphic? Right here. 200. That's how many federal judges the Dem-run U.S. Senate has confirmed. 58 Biden-Harris judges are Black, the most appointed by any president in one term in history. Hashtag Black Judges Matter. Now, to me, if you're rolling out this type of different deal, what you do is you have to supply your Black supporters with materials that can actually support your initiative. To me, that's what you do. That's how you do it. Medical debt, one of the issues the Vice President talked about. All I'm saying is this rollout should have been far more robust. It should have been robust. In fact, if you're going to send campaign people this morning on MSNBC, CNN, you should have folks on every black syndicated radio show. Steve Harvey, Breakfast Club, Ricky Smiley, Erica Campbell, on and on and on. Should have been on all of them. So what is frustrating to me is that if you're going to do it, go big. Go big. They're talking about rolling out an 8-figure investment. Okay, where? Where are you spending the money? What platforms? Black targeted, black owned, mainstream. Which one? And as I said very clearly, they weren't covered today they were not covered by mainstream media. I actually posted a tweet on that. They didn't cover it. So again, you did a campaign event. What did you get out of it? If mainstream media skipped it, got it, what did you get out of the event? That's all I'm saying here. Because you have to combat the misinformation and you have to make it plain to people. God rest his soul. But Joe Madison would always say, put it where the ghost can get it. And that means you've got to actually do that. I called the folks at NNPA. They weren't aware of this event today. I talked to them directly. Several black radio people called me. They had no idea about the events today. There was media in Pennsylvania, black media in Pennsylvania, who wasn't aware about the events today. I'm just simply saying. And so I say, fine, you had the rollout. There has to be a very clear strategy, Rebecca, when it comes to between now and again. What are you doing? This is the end of May. So what is your plan in June? What is your plan in July? What is your plan leading up to the convention in August? And then what's the plan in September and October? It has to be different. And so who's at your disposal? How are you using people? How are you sending out various surrogates? Again, if I am Biden-Harris, if I am them, you know what I'm doing? I'm sitting here going, okay, you know what? I want to see town or city-specific town hall conversations discussing policies. Mayor Brandon Scott, I need, in the major battleground, I need them happening in these cities, in these states. Because if I'm doing it in Baltimore, I'm not just helping Biden-Harris, I'm also helping Angela Alsobrooks. If I'm doing this in other states, I'm helping different candidates. So again, that's just me, that's just how I see it. Hey, maybe I'm wrong, just my thoughts.
You know, Roland, my other concern is that there was some news that came out yesterday that also surprised a lot of people. It came out that Biden and Harris will accept the nomination virtually instead of at the DNC in Chicago. And it was unclear, hey, are you doing this because of the protests? But then later on, we saw reports saying, hey, they have to do this in order to officially be on the ballot in Ohio. So the issue is those of us who are very engaged in the 2024 elections, we're not even getting the information that we should be getting, much less the general public. And so even to the point that I was making earlier is that whatever rollout that you choose to do, you better talk to Black folks as Black people. You better talk to Black folks as equals. You can't just talk to them transactionally as voters, but you need to talk to them as constituents that you are accountable to. The language that I heard today was, well, Black voters, we need you to turn out again and save democracy. We need you to turn out again and make sure that Trump doesn't bring in Project 2025. I hear that. I understand that argument, but it's also tone deaf. Hey, Black folks, hey, constituents, hold me accountable with what I said I was going to do. I'm going to talk about the things I have done. I'm going to acknowledge the things I have not done. And then I will tell you the plan for how I would do this if I get reelected in November. That's the type of conversation that you have when you respect people and you view people as equals. But to show up and do things transactionally, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good because it's not good. And even to your point, thinking through a local media, hey, Patty Jackson is well known, a Black radio host, very well known in Philadelphia. I didn't hear her talking about this. I didn't see her as one of the people who introduced Vice President Harris. There's so many small things that you do when you show up in a campaign, in a community. And if you don't do those small things, you're not being authentic to the very voters that you're trying to reach out to. And so there's a lack of authenticity here that if the Biden-Harris campaign, if they don't get it under control in the next couple of weeks, I am afraid they are not going to win re-election in the fall. And that's just full out point blank. I know that there's a small handful of folks that President Biden listens to. They're going to cause you to lose your re-election campaign if you keep listening to them because they're not being very helpful. They're not giving you good wisdom and good advice. That's going to ultimately make you victorious in November.
Robert, that was a great scene in the movie The West Wing. The script star of the television show The West Wing. And there was a Latino leader who happened to be sitting courtside with a prominent Democrat, courtside of the basketball game. And the staff was like, what the hell? What is this guy doing? And this Democratic candidate was thinking about running against President Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen. So they hit the Latino leader, and he came to the White House. So they started telling him, we gave you this, 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 this. And he then said, that was the last election. What do I get now? So when I talk about what are you doing now, they have to articulate a forward-thinking agenda. And so it can't just be, we're going to get voting reform, we're going to get a criminal justice reform, but you told me that 4 years ago. And so that's the other thing. They have to articulate a forward agenda. I don't care if the slogan's called finish the job, whatever it is, but it has to be a forward-thinking agenda. What I am seeing right now, and again, let me be real clear, I've been paying a lot of attention. What I'm seeing and hearing a lot is, we did this, we did this, we did this, which is all stuff that you have to say. But you also have to articulate, but this is what I'm going to do for you if you give me 4 more years.
You're absolutely correct. And deep in the Atlanta market, the Biden and Harris campaign has been running these Trump or the devil commercials just into the ground. Trump is racist. Trump. Everybody knows that already. You're no longer moving the needle. You're wasting your money running those campaign commercials. The people who think Trump is a racist already aren't voting for Trump. The people who don't think Trump is a racist already are voting for Trump. You're not creating new voters. You're just simply navel gazing at that point in time. You need to be focusing on, one, the things that you have done and the things you will do. One thing that I have not heard this administration highlight at all is the fact that the first Black female Supreme Court justice was appointed by them, the first Black female vice president, the first Black female UN secretary, first Black female on the Federal Reserve, first Black female press secretary, African-American male being head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, being defense secretary, 58 federal court judges. I will create a commercial of just Joe Biden shaking the hands of all the prominent African-Americans that he has appointed, and then having him standing there saying that I've done this thus far, and this is what the agenda will be going forward. All the way down the HUD secretary, down the line. If you can put Pete Buttigieg on television, you can take all of those appointees that Joe Biden has had and push them out nationwide to every, not just syndicated, every local Black talk radio station and podcast around the country. If you notice with former President Trump, he will go on any podcast, he will go on any radio show, he will show up at any event, he will answer any question, he will talk to the voters because he's not afraid of his voters. President Biden has has to stop running afraid, because he seems to be more intimidated by Benjamin Netanyahu than he is by the entirety of the black community. As long as he runs on a campaign of being afraid and not wanting to answer the tough questions, well, you're not going to see any movement happening. And everything they said in that speech in Philadelphia, I can see the eye rolls and the groans taking place among voters who are hesitant to vote right now, because you're not pushing that bold agenda going forward as to what exactly you are going to do in the next 4 years. And there are many people who have nostalgia now for those 4 Trump years. We can no longer simply discount the black people who are supporting Trump. You got one of those influential young black female rappers, Sexy Red, running around the country with a MAGA hat on, saying "Make America Sexy Again." You got Waka Flocka Flame. You got Lil Pump. You got Woah Vicky. You got Teddy Riley. You got a lot of people in the community where it's starting to hit a tipping point where you can no longer simply say, well, those are just some crazy Negroes. Now you have to say, well, this is actually some statistical evidence saying that there are some young black voters who grew up in that period of time where you had President Trump as basically a reality show host as president, being entertaining, giving out stimulus checks to people, giving out PPP loans to people, telling your mama jokes, all those other things. And they see that through a lens of that being their childhood, that being a better time, that being a better day. And they see the Biden administration as being the adults in the room, paying the bills, keeping us out of wars, being boring. And you have to realize you have to message to those folks, because that's a new generation of voters. They're not tied down to the traditions of the black community. They're forging an entirely new future based on their own lived experience. And if you don't recognize that and address that, you're going to fall behind.
So here's the thing, as I look at this, Julian, and again, I was just sitting here thinking about imagery. I was thinking about the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And again, now some would say, oh, you're playing fear. I would actually lean to the couch. And I would say, this is how I would do it. I would say, you pissed off about the Dobbs decision? Yeah. That's because a lot of people stayed on the couch in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Are you mad about affirmative action being overturned? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's because a lot of people stayed on the couch in 2016. Are you upset with it? That's the couch.
Mm-hmm.
I would make, here's the deal, and this is the crazy thing. They have a story to tell. I'm going to say this, and for the life of me, I have no idea why this White House and why the campaign doesn't do this here. This has been the most active civil rights division of the Department of Justice since Robert Kennedy was the Attorney General. They have put wardens in jail, jailers in jail, cops in jail, hate crime convictions. They've tackled redlining, on and on and on. They never talk about it. You did not get the George Floyd Justice Act. Got it. But you have a DOJ that is actually being aggressive in dealing with criminal justice reform. How do you not talk about it? What they've done is they've created this whole notion that no, we gotta create this wall between DOJ and the White House. Yeah, but you don't build a 30-foot wall to keep yourself out. You can't. They can literally say, Biden could stand there and say, under my Department of Justice, there are 10 patterns and practices, investigations of police department when it comes to police brutality, the treatment of American citizens. There was one under Donald Trump.
Really?
Hold on, I'm not done. He could say, we've invested in police training, but we've also held them accountable for bad actors when they do wrong. I do not understand how you have a criminal justice reform story to tell and they won't tell it. I am flabbergasted, and I have literally asked top White House officials, why do y'all never bring it up? I don't hear it coming from the White House podium. I don't hear it in his speeches. I don't hear it in her speeches. I don't hear it from the campaign. And it's like, What? Are you afraid that MAGA's going to call you soft on crime? No, you can tell them we believe in accountability, and hell, we've got all the videos to show for it, Tyree Nichols and on and on and on. So I don't understand why they're scared to bring it up.
This is a typical problem with Democrats. They're always afraid to claim their base. There are a lot of things they have to say, they can say, really about, as you say, criminal justice reform or any number of other things. They're afraid to claim their base. They think they're going to alienate some crazy white man with a MAGA hat who wasn't going to vote for them anyway, but they're afraid of that. And, you know, Roland, I've been reading, I guess I'm bored, Project 2025, which is frightening. And I would invite our people, those who are watching you, who are, I guess woke might be the word we might use, go read that stuff. Go see what they say they're going to do. They would eliminate the Department of Education. They would eliminate student debt reform, relief. There are a list of things. Of course, affirmative action and DEI are under the bus right now. Why does the Biden administration, they don't have to do it themselves. Let their surrogates do it. Let you do it. Let others who are passionate about basically our country, let them do it. Why are they being so silent and so scared, not scared, but scared of what the Orange Man and his team might say? It really is absurd that they're not claiming their legacy. The slide you showed earlier with the judges is really an important slide, because these are people who are going to be in the judiciary for 20, 30 years. And they're going to push back on Trump appointees. But why are they not dealing with this? I don't have an answer. I don't think anybody does. But what we know is that if they continue to play this, and James Carville called it, I think yesterday on CNN, if they continue to play this, they ain't going to win. This ain't going to win. You cannot win running scared. The other side is aggressive, assertive, forceful, exacting. And these are, right now, what I see is the Biden-Harris administration being a bunch of wimps. It's unacceptable. They're leaving us in the dust. They're forcing us to bite dust. And so, you know, you're absolutely, they need to hire you and have you working for them 24/7.
No. First of all, because I have little tolerance for folk who move slow, who take forever. Because I'm telling you right now, this graphic right here, I hit my man Keenan. We had it in 2 hours, and that was with revisions. So the campaign still hasn't done this graphic. They still haven't done it. The campaign ain't done this graphic. That was Chuck Schumer's office. I'm like, what the hell are y'all doing? This is why you have rapid response. This is why you have a digital. In fact, are y'all aware? Now, the reason I saw Dio do this personally with the vice president. Are y'all aware that when they had the discussion in Milwaukee, Dio Hughley apologized to the vice president because he listened to what the trolls were saying about her record as California Attorney General, and he apologized for being wrong about her record? Have y'all seen the campaign push that video anywhere? That's a perfect example. This is a perfect example of how you totally blow a moment. Here you have Dio Hughley saying, I made a mistake and I believed some lies about the records of Vice President Kamala Harris, and I ripped her in 2020 because of that, and I apologize for being wrong. They haven't run it anywhere.
That should be a video.
They haven't run it anywhere, and I'm going, what are you doing? So they're going to have again, a lot of things they're going to be doing. It's a lot more work that needs to be done when it comes to this black outreach effort. So I know they're watching. Just I hope y'all paying attention. Gotta go to a break. We come back. Woo! Bleach, blonde, bad, built, butch body. A sister confronted Marjorie Taylor Greene, the D.C. airport. That sucker went crazy viral. She joins us next. Don't forget to support Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dials allow for us to do the work that we do here because y'all know these advertisers ain't trying to support black-owned media. And so senior check and money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
COVID happened, poor people were dying at a rate already of 800 people a day. Before COVID, if you went to a funeral every single day, it would take you 600 years to attend all the funerals of the people who will die from the ravages of policy violence, poverty, and low wages in America in just 1 year. It would take you 2 years and 19 days to go to all of the funerals of the people that will die today, and oftentimes silence. Nobody talks about this political genocide, but we are determined today to remember their death and be a resurrection of voting power and voice power like never before.
Economic justice and saving this democracy are deeply connected. We, as a nation, must listen to the demands of the poor, who are pushing and will continue to push political candidates and elected leaders to lift from the bottom so that everybody can rise.
We are the poor, the marginalized, and the underpaid. And we are taking one step forward to say that everybody has a right to live.
Poverty is not the fault of those who are impoverished. It is caused by those who make the policy.
There are over 135 million poor and low-wage, low-income people in this nation.
The biggest block of potential voters by far is low-income, low-wage voters.
I can't afford medicine. Sometimes I have to skip because of the cost.
The farm worker community is tired of the violence imposed upon us by greed, exclusion, and denial of basic human rights.
Those folk that represented by that casket, poor and low-wage workers who are the most moral people in this country because they go to work every day believing, even though going to work is hazardous to their health.
I'm tired of working 70 to 80 hours a week and still not have money for the necessity of bills. I'm tired of getting sick and not being able to go see the doctor, having to make a choice to pay between rent or the light bill or food or clothes.
You cannot claim to care about families and a culture of life and then do everything in your power to rob people of equal access to resources and to force them to live in poverty.
Leadership of both parties have waged war on poor people and low-wage workers.
And this government has treated people experiencing poverty, including their military families, with disdainful, deliberate, malicious neglect.
So the truth is that my son died from poverty.
We refuse to accept poverty as the fourth leading cause of death.
The fourth leading cause of death in this, the richest country in the world.
We march today for our children and the generations to come.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
We will voice our demands and register our vote.
When we stand up and when we stand together, things change.
There is the electorate that is, and then there is the electorate that should be.
34 million eligible poor and low-income voters did not vote in 2016. If just 20% of those voters in swing states were mobilized around an agenda, they could change the political outcome of every election. So we're launching the most massive voter mobilization and turnout campaign in history of poor and low-wage voters, allies, and religious leaders.
People are dying, but we know it doesn't have to be this way. And so we are calling on everyone to join us in this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
We are here, we will be seen, we will be heard, and our power will be felt. We don't need to be an insurrection. We are a resurrection that will be felt across this country. Are you ready? ready, ready, ready. We are a resurrection, and we are ready. And we won't be silent anymore.
Me, Sherry Shepard, with Sammy Roman. I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Well, crazy deranged Marjorie Taylor Greene goes viral again. This time, she didn't even open her mouth when a black woman called her out at the D.C. airport. Watch this.
Beach blonde, bad build. How you doing today? How you be? You didn't like that, huh?
Roll that again.
Beach blonde, bad build. How you doing today? How you be? You didn't like that, huh?
Well, that woman is Kia Kroom. We recorded that video. She joins us now from D.C. Kia, glad to have you here. So you were in the airport. I take it she was traveling out and you were coming back from somewhere, correct?
Correct. I was, I want to make sure y'all can see me. Correct.
We got you.
I was coming back from Los Angeles. I'd been at a conference, and I remember seeing people taking pictures with her. And I'm like, is that? And I'm like, I don't know why on earth anybody would be doing that, but whatever. And I knew that I was going to say something to her. In fact, what wasn't captured was when I looked at her and I told her, I said, you're going to learn to leave Black women alone. And she responded like, yeah, okay. And, you know, I had time that day. So I'm like, yeah, okay. And then I hit record, and that's where you saw that exchange.
So y'all had an exchange before. Y'all had an exchange before you recorded this.
We did.
And so, go ahead.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I was just simply telling her, you know, listen, you're going to learn to leave Black women alone. And she responded to me the way that we saw her respond to AOC during that infamous clip, you know, like, oh, yeah, okay. And it was just like, okay.
So you post this, and then all of a sudden, it just takes off.
It did. I actually had no idea that this would go viral. I had no idea that it would evoke the level of laughter. I mean, the level of joy. Like, I literally had people texting, DMing me, and telling me everything from, you know, offering to buy me lunch to, you know, just thanking them because, I mean, they just found it to be such comedic relief. I had no idea. That totally wasn't what I did it for. I just knew that I had time and I had a moment because, like a lot of Black women, I've just been disgusted by the anti-Blackness that I've been seeing play out in the media for, I mean, how much time you got, but like, it just seems like over the last 2 weeks, between the clip we saw, the exchange between MGT and Congresswoman Crockett and AOC, and then you see Kelly Rowland over in Cannes, it's just like the anti-Blackness, the misogynoir, it's just like, I've had it, right? So I had time that day.
Well, it has certainly generated lots of attention. Do y'all have a control room? Y'all got the video that we put out on social media with this in the song? All right, go ahead and play it. No. Keenan put out on social media. He used her clip. Y'all kill that. On social media, Keenan posted the clip of Kroom with her. It was hilarious. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Because I saw it, I said, oh, this is just too much right here. And it's gotten probably, let's see here. All right, check it out. Let's see. So I'm looking for the Yeah, I'm looking for, that's not it. Come back to me, come back. So I'm looking for the, so he posted it, and it was her included, and oh my God, when I say I fell out, oh, here it is, go.
Bad Bill, how you doing today? How you be? You didn't like that, huh?
Bad Bill, butch body, so trap, jealous of my style, cause you know I got that snap.
Oh, that was just too much. And again, you see right here, oh my God, we got more than 2,200 comments. Almost 24,000 folks have liked it. Just flat out hilarious. Questions from the panel. Robert, you first.
At that moment, you talked about the attacks on black women, and we've discussed that ad nauseum on this show, whether it's Marilyn Mosby, whether it's Fonnie Willis, whether it's Keisha Lance Bottoms, Lori Lightfoot, Mary Cantrell, Marianne Bowser, on down the line. What do you think could be the instructive nature of this moment with Jasmine Crockett, where we simply decide, instead of playing by their rules and playing by these genteel games, actually just simply respond to them in kind?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, like under ordinary circumstances, I'm a sweetheart. I'm probably the sweetest person you could ever meet in life. And yet I'm tired. And I mean, I don't know if because
come on now. You calling yourself sweet.
I am.
You know. Come on now.
If you wanted it here.
Come on, kid. Really sweet, sweet people ain't that petty. Like, I know I'm petty. I know I'm petty.
I had time that day, but here's the deal. I want to respond to the gentleman's question.
Go ahead.
I think that responding in kind for black women, for brown women, if that means clapping back, then I say no more passes, like, period. Like, I honestly feel like if you're big, bad, and bold enough to hurl a racist trope or a microaggression, because let's be clear, that's what we saw happen on the congressional floor there. That was a microaggression, and it happens from the rooms of Congress down to boardrooms and offices, where across the USA, across the globe. I'm of the mind at this point that in kind, if you're big, bad, and bold enough to hurl a trope, you're big, bad, and bold enough to get it right back dug in your face. You know what I mean? And that's just where I'm at, because I think that it's taken as passivity. I don't know if it's taken as passivity. What I see a lot of women of color, black women doing when attacked, because when you're attacked, especially in a public discourse like that, it's very like disorienting. And I don't know how Congresswoman Crockett, like, I commend her for holding her composure. Like, I saw, a little like, and like, she said, ain't nothing, about me, or whatever she was saying in that moment. But I can't imagine how humiliating that had to feel at that point in time. So you know what? The instructive, as far as I'm concerned, is really no more passes. I'm a firm believer in calling that behavior out and pulling it up by the root, even if it's, so this is what we're doing in this moment, like Congresswoman Crockett did. I just want to be clear. So this is what we're doing. But no more passes. It's just too much.
Just a quick follow-up also. Marjorie Taylor Greene, in response, posted a picture in a bikini this weekend. Do you think that will change the conversation about her being bad, built with a bush body?
Hell no, because it was Photoshopped.
No. And somebody dared to comment, she would beat your butt or something like that. And I'm like, okay, I don't throw hands. I deal with lawyers and I'm not going to say, but listen, I'm not going to throw hands with her. Too many people in my family depends on me and rely on me to find myself in some fisticuffs, as my grandmother would say, with somebody. Like, I don't even have anything for that, but absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
So Robert, Rebecca, this is the photo Robert was referring. Okay, Rebecca, go ahead.
Bless her heart. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I know that you are not a professional troll. I also know there's a lot of people who want to support you. So can you tell us more about who you are, what you do, and how we can support you?
Yeah, so I own a global fundraising firm called Kia Kroom Fundraising and Philanthropy. My claim to fame, if you will, is having raised nearly $1 billion for social justice causes led by and serving Black and Brown people. And I mean, I love it. I meet some of the most incredible Black women, brown women you could ever imagine, women that are really on the front lines trying to affect social change and fight structural inequities, which is, I think, why, you know, that moment we witnessed struck me so much, because I look at it this way. Here you had Congresswoman Crockett, you know, people are assembled to take care of business at hand, and you have someone making a mockery and a caricature of a Black woman in a public discourse. The Black women and brown women that I know are laying down their lives for the sake of social justice, like Black women have always done. So that is the work that I do. And you can find me at www.kiakroom.com and drop me a line. My social handles are the same, Kia Kroom. And I'm happy to connect with anybody that's about social change and as passionate about it as I am. Thank you for having me.
Julianne?
Okay, baby sis. Google me, call me. I am taking you to lunch. I live in D.C. You the bomb.
Yes.
So just JulianneMalvo.com. I would be happy to buy you lunch and to basically hang out with you. I'm just loving what you did. That's one. Number two. These people, this misogynoir, has been so advanced that they attack us from our credentials to our eyeglasses.
To our appearance.
From our credentials to our, yes. And so this is unacceptable. So thank you for calling that BBB. And there was a missing B there, you know, because of the BBB. Roland knows what the B is. But basically, thank you for calling her out. Now, the other piece of this is, it's not just MTG. She's a nasty piece of work, but she's been one since she was born. She doesn't even need to be breathing air. That's a waste of air. What is your thought as a PR maven and a fundraiser about how we deal with misogynoir more broadly? Robert called out some of the names. We've seen them. Angela also Brooks. She needed training wheels. Give me a break. We could go down the list. Black women are under attack. How do we fight back?
Yeah, I mean, no more passes. Period. No more passes. You big, bad, and bold enough to say it. You're big, bad, and bold enough to get caught out, whether we're calling it out on the spot. And I understand that things impact people differently sometimes, because these moments can be so jarring. We have to collect ourselves. But I'm a proponent of calling this out and uprooting it wherever it rears its ugly head. Period. I honestly think that it's going to take not just Black women, because I hear a fair amount of Black women talking about misogynoir. Yeah, we're the target, but I think that it's going to take more Black men speaking up. To be quite honest, and in offices and workplaces, this is where the allies are gonna have to come in. It's no more passes, period. You call it out, and sometimes you gotta show the bully where it's at, and like the gentleman said a moment ago, return it in kind. By my estimation, it's going high, right? Because you would not believe how many women of color I talk to in Zoom screens every week that are in tears because they've been humiliated and have ulcers nearly because they couldn't find the words or weren't comfortable countering an attack and simply calling it by its name. So no more passes given. That's just where I'm at with it.
All right. I really wish, Roland, I could run into her in the airport. I would have a good old time.
Yeah, because
we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good one.
Because we know you petty too, Julian. All right, Kia. Kia, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Stay petty. You ain't sweet. I don't know why you fronting. You petty. Thanks a lot. All right, going to a break. We come back, folks. Major League Baseball is now integrating Negro League records into the record books after segregating them for so long. We'll talk about that next on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. A lot of y'all have been asking me about the pocket squares that we have available on our website. You see me rocking the Shibori pocket square right here. It's all about looking different. Now look, summertime is coming up. Y'all know, I keep trying to tell fellas, change your look, please. You can't wear athletic shoes every damn wear. So if you're putting on linen suits, if you're putting on some summer suits, have a whole different look. The reason I like this particular pocket square, the Shibori, is because it's sort of like a flower and looks pretty cool here versus the traditional boring silk pocket squares. But also I like being a little different as well. So this is why we have these custom-made feather pocket squares on the website as well. My sister actually designed these after a few years ago. I was in this battle with Steve Harvey at Essence, and I saw this at a St. Jude fundraiser. I saw this feather pocket square, and I said, well, I got some ideas. So I hit her, and she sent me about 30 different ones. And so this completely changes your look. Now, some of you men out there, I had some dudes say, oh, man, I can't wear that. Well, if you ain't got swagger, that's not my problem. But if you're looking for something different to spruce up your look, fellas, ladies, if y'all looking to get your man a good gift, I've run into brothers all across the country with the feather pocket squares saying, see, check mine out. And so it's always good to see them. And so this is what you do. Go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. You can order Shibori pocket squares or the custom-made pocket squares. Now, for the Shiboris, we're out of a lot of the different colors, and I think we're down to about 200 or 300. So you want to get your order in as soon as you can, because here's what happened. I got these several years ago, and the Japanese company signed a deal with another company, and I bought them before they signed that deal, and so I can't get access to any more from the company in Japan that makes them. And so get yours now. So come summertime, when I see y'all at Essence, y'all could be looking fly with the Shibori pocket square or the custom-made pocket square. Again, RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. Go there now.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. Brown versus the Board of Education. The history books call it the court decision that ended racial segregation in American schools. But a brand new book, Jim Crow's Pink Slip, uncovers a devastating unintended consequence of that 1954 Supreme Court decision.
We may, if we were lucky, have been the very last generation of Black students to have experienced these generations of Black teachers who have never been replaced.
Dr. Leslie Fenwick joins us to talk about her book and the actions following that landmark decision that dealt a virtual death blow to Black educators. That's next on the Black Table, right here on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're talking all things mental health and how helping others can help you. We all have moments where we have struggles, and on this week's show, our guests demonstrate how helping others can also help you. Why you should never stop giving and serving others on the next A Balanced Life here on Black Star Network.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
League Baseball has announced that they will be including the records of Negro League players in Major League Baseball stats. So this is a holdover from segregation. So let me tell you what white folks did in this country. This is not just with not in Major League Baseball. So you had two systems in this country due to Jim Crow. You had white sports, you had black sports. And so Major League Baseball was in many ways the same way. Purposely denying black people to play in Major League Baseball until Jackie Robinson joined the Dodgers in 1947. So I'll give another example. So I'm from Houston. So the black schools, I'm a graduate of Jackie Hayes High School. We won several PVIL championships. It's called the Prairie View Interscholastic League. That's where the black schools played. Yet when there was a merger with the University Interscholastic League, UIL, the white folks said, oh, our records are more pristine. They are more clean than the PVIL. So the PVIL records in Texas were not included in the UIL. So when you see these UIL records today, understand all of those great black athletes in Texas, those records are not included in the stats today. The same applied to the Negro Leagues. Those stats were not included in Major League Baseball. It wasn't until 2020 when this began to change, when Major League Baseball recognized Negro League players between 1920 and 1948 as being in the major leagues. Now, the records are going to be changed. And so this is what the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, said. We are proud that the official historical record now includes the players of the Negro Leagues. This initiative is focused on ensuring that future generations of fans have access to the statistics and milestones of all those who made the Negro Leagues possible. Their accomplishment on the field will be a gateway to broader learning about this triumph in American history and the path that led to Jackie Robinson's 1947 Dodger debut. This now means that legendary catcher Josh Gibson, his records, he will now be considered the major league record holder in a variety of categories, includes all-time leader in batting average, slugging percentage, and OPS, and holds the all-time single-season records in each of those categories. Again, the article says Gibson was one of more than 2,300 Negro League players, including 3 living players who played in the 1920-1948 era in Bill Greason, Ron Teasley, and Hall of Famer Willie Mays, included in a newly integrated database at MLB.com that combines the Negro League numbers with the existing data from the American League, National League, and other major leagues from history. And see, this is the thing here, Robert, that I think people have to remember. It was called the major leagues not because of talent. It was because it was white, because they had more money, better stadiums, better lighting, better uniforms, better food, better travel, because white folks had money. They had the resources. The actual major league talent was in the Negro Leagues. That was undeniable. And so it was racism that did not include these records because white folks do not want their records sullied. See, I've always said anytime you see, all these Heisman greats, I don't recognize no Heisman winner until Ernie Davis. Because even when Jim Brown was by far the best player in the country, racism kept him out. I think they gave it to Paul Hornett. Give me a break. And they had a losing record. So you've had black talent who they were out of the record books because of Jim Crow. This is a perfect example. Major League Baseball was right to do this. It was late, but finally it got done.
Well, they're halfway there. And I remind people, my dad was born in 1932, so I grew up hearing stories about Negro League Baseball because that's all that he grew up knowing and those players. He still made the contention until the day he died that the greatest black player of all time was Babe Ruth, who was posing and passing as a white man because he was he straightened his hair off a conch, and if you looked at him in person, he was about the same tint as Malcolm X, who my dad met in person on many occasions. I make this point to say that Major League Baseball is great to recognize the records. And now we need to find the families of those players and give them their prorated salaries adjusted for inflation. Those men fought in conditions that none of us could even comprehend. Stadiums that were falling apart, riding buses through Mississippi and Alabama, South Georgia, in the middle of Jim Crow and the Ku Klux Klan. Every single game was a civil rights movement for them. Every single game, they risked death simply to play a ball game to entertain the masses. Those people have to be made right. It's great to put their records in the book. I agree with it. It should have happened 50 years ago. Now we have to monetarily make sure that this league, which now can pay players a 10-year billion-dollar contract to play for a team, that they can go back to those people who are instrumental in building up those leagues, building up this sport, and ensure that their families are taken care of. And also, by doing that, you will inspire the next generation to return to the baseball field. I think opening day, something like 6.6% of players were African-American in Major League Baseball this year. Growing up, for all of us, all the best players, whether it was Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., on down the line, were Black American players. We have to reinvigorate that game. You reinvigorate it by doing right by those families, doing right by those legacies, and truly doing what it takes to make that playing field equal. I love the records. I love the fact that they're being recognized. Now open the checkbook.
You know, and look, this just goes to show you that people don't understand what Jim Crow was all about, Rebecca.
You know, I think it's also important for people to understand this is what it looks like to erase Black folks in this country. Because up until this, there are generations of Black folks who don't understand the contribution that other Black Americans made to the sport of baseball, and even tangentially to the sport of softball. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard people across the country make comments, well, you know, that's a white sport. We don't play that. Actually, we did. We do. And we excel at it. And so once again, this is what happens when we are purposefully erased from history, is that they try to act as if we weren't there when we've been there all along. I agree with Robert. There has to be reparations with this. Major League Baseball got a lot of money, and there's a lot of money that they should pay out, not just to the families, but actually do an investment. Why is it that we have such a low percentage of Black American baseball players when we know the talent is there? So, you know, even rebuilding baseball fields in the country, like in Washington, D.C., there's a nonprofit, I think it's called Field of Dreams, to target and do violence interruption through the use of baseball summer programs. So there's great ways to reintroduce baseball into our various communities across the country.
Julian?
I agree with both my fellow panelists about this, Robert, especially when he talks about reparations. I think that it's really interesting how there has been a consistent effort to erase Black people from the fabric of American life. And baseball is part of the fabric of American life. Many of us do not. I'm not into baseball. Well, I'm not into sports, so that's a whole other story. I do like basketball because the brothers look good with their shorts on. But that's a whole other story. But by and large, baseball, football, all of these things are things that Black people excelled in and were marginalized with. So the whole concept of erasure is something that we really have to think about in the concept of baseball. And it's a healthy sport. Major League Baseball needs to go into our communities, Robert, as you suggest, and Rebecca, go into our communities and build stuff for our kids to be engaged in what people call America's pastime. It hasn't happened. We go back and look at it. I mean, this is a good move, but it's not even a half step, it's a quarter step. What needs to happen is that we need to make sure that our history in sports is captured, trumpeted, and basically reclaimed. And that's the bottom line. So, Roland, this is a really great opportunity for us to talk about the ways that we have been erased. It's not just baseball or any other sport. It's systematically the erasure of Black people that we have to reclaim. And this is so very important.
Yep, and we've seen this erasure take place in other areas as well. All right, going to break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Now streaming on the Black Star Network.
We look at all of the best men. the movies, and then, of course, the series on Peacock. Why do you think it resonated so well?
Well, I think it's a reflection of us. You know, I think it's a reflection of authentic black people, the way they see themselves. And in some instances, aspirationally so.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
Bruce Smith, creator and executive producer of the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Scoop. All right, folks, Thursday night, the AMC network-operated channel All Black will be debuting a new comedy special from comedian Garrett G. Thing Johnson. It's called Sit Your Ass Down. Here is a preview.
Y'all ready? Ladies and gentlemen, my boy, very talented, Garrett G. Thing Johnson!
I'm gonna tell you, black women, ain't number 3 good men don't ever walk this earth. That's me, Barack, and Jesus. That's it.
I just let that money.
I don't even take my clothes off until I get fully in the bed. I ain't got no light on type of body. I got a candlelit type of body. This little chick said, you wanna go another round? I mean, right now, you wanna go again? I can pencil you in for Thursday. We gotta start all over again. Women, if you date a man, he in his 50s, and he ain't got no checking account, you should sit your ass down.
All right, Garrett G. Thing Johnson joins us right now. Garrett, what's happening?
What's up, Roland?
You fixed
my main man.
You fixed that golf swing yet?
I definitely didn't, and I really wanted to come on here for those kind of tips, but then this came. You know what I mean?
Cause Lord, y'all, Gary posted a video, y'all, of his golf swing. I had to sit here and send him a text, cause I was like, "Say, dog, you gotta represent left-handers way better than that."
Hey man, it wasn't just a text that you sent me; it was a thesis. You know, and it's almost like you was telling me to quit playing golf.
No,
throw your clubs in the water.
I wasn't telling you to quit, but I was like, take your ass to the driving range, though.
It was so disrespectful, and thank God me and you are friends. And you can really play. And that's what you were saying. I can really play. You're left-handed, and I'm asking you to quit.
No, I mean, I was offering you some advice and counsel, on swing path, your grip, and all this sort of stuff, your weight transfer. I mean, I'm trying to help a brother out.
You was, and you gave me only thing you didn't do is send me charts and diaphragms and actually the picture actually how to do it. You really broke it down. I was in the movie theaters. I had to leave out the movie theater to read all that whole text message. I said I got to get back with Roland later on this one because I'm very disappointed because I thought I was doing good.
Yeah, it looked like you thought you were doing good. Cause y'all, he literally posted, "Yeah, check the swing," and I was kind of like,
It almost felt like you stopped following me after that, too. I don't know if that's true or not. I got to check it. But it looked like after I swung like that, you didn't want nothing to do with me.
I ain't stopped following you, but I was like, yeah, no, he going to have to go to the range. So let me go ahead and get him a little something. Let's talk about this special here. Where'd you shoot it?
I shot it in L.A. at a theater called El Prado, produced by and directed by Bentley Kyle Evans. We did 2 sold-out shows. The line producer was Valerie Harper. they all came together. My man Brett, of course, you know Brett and Nikki. I pitched this to him about, I wanted to do it big like this and make it Hollywood. So, that's why I wanted to bring out all the stars and everything. I'm one of the first comedians to ever pull up in a car. You know what I mean? So I wanted to do it that big. I didn't just want to come around a curtain and tell some jokes. You know what I mean? I wanted to give it that,
So the car that you pulled up in, was that rented or was that yours?
It's definitely not mine. Don't try to get me robbed on your show.
I'm just asking. I'm just inquiring. I mean, we see the car. I mean, you went down the enterprise budget, and I was just checking.
Now, here's the funny part. It's a story behind that car. That car is Jay Leno's. Jay Leno allowed me to rent that particular car. That's a Porsche Boxer. He let me rent that car for the special. We had to do all kind of things to get that Porsche inside that building. And the insurance policy alone to get that car in there for that particular thing is worth watching. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's not my car. I don't own nothing like that. Nowhere near close. I can't even afford to rent a car like that. And so I'm gonna keep it basic. You know what I mean?
So Jay Leno allowed y'all to rent the car. Do you know Jay or do you know somebody who know Jay? How did that happen?
You see, you know what? Roland, see, this is the deal with you. You're such a journalist. You know what I mean? You goes in deep. You won't let me stunt on your show at all. See, you taking away all the stunning.
No, I mean, everybody who's watching asking the same thing. They like, oh, is Gary cool? Is Gary cool with Jay Leno? Or he don't really know Jay, but he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows Jay.
I knew it's four of them. I know somebody to know, and then Jay. And then they said they like my work, and they said, well, let me talk to Jay and see what Jay rent you that car.
Gotcha.
And he came back and he said yes.
So they know Jay, but you don't know Jay. Does Jay know Gary?
Jay don't know Gary or G-Thing. He don't know neither one.
Okay.
And I met Jay one time at the Comedy Store. And this way before I asked to rent his car. I met him at the Comedy Store, and he was cool, and he was a nice cat. But, I mean, it was, he's not my era, you know what I mean? And I don't just go up to comics, especially the ones that I don't know, and the ones that don't know me. I really don't go up to comics that don't know who the hell I am. So
why? I mean, look, there are people that I don't assume everybody know who I am. So
everybody know Roland Martin. Everybody.
I mean, I walk into people, hi, I'm Roland Martin. I ain't scared to meet somebody. So I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, so
Roland, it might be 5 black people that don't know you. 5. I can tell you that right now. I was telling people that I'm doing Roland Martin show. They said, "Are you doing Roland show? He let you on there?" I'm friends with Roland. Now that's who I do know. So yeah, people know who the hell Roland Martin is.
And let me
hey Roland, that's why I wanted to do your show. How many times I call you Roland? Roland, I called you 700 times.
Let me explain something, y'all. Gary was calling me like a damn bill collector. I was like, Gary, I got you. I said, I know when the damn comedy special airs. You're gonna be on the show. Don't your ass call me again. I said, Carol is going to reach out to you. Yeah. I got this, Gary.
Yeah. And that's how you sound. And I like, hey, Roland, do you want me to call you back?
I was trying.
Hey, Roland, I have never heard your tone.
I was trying not to cuss.
No, you was definitely not trying to cuss. I guess you was still, showing respect to our friendship. But I can tell that I was getting on your damn nerves. I am not gonna lie. I felt the spirit because I'm spiritual, and I said I'm not gonna call Roland again, but I am gonna DM him and see what he says. And then sure, I DM you that last time Carl called me.
See, and here's what black people need to understand: there are certain code words that black people use that lets you know. Now look. I'm running out of patience with your ass.
Yeah.
And the word look is one of those words. When somebody
you use 2 of them.
When somebody black goes, look. Right there.
Yeah, that lets you know.
You need to retreat. Because see, right there, that's just one of them. That's one of them words. You know, it's just a certain tone. Like, look.
Hey, you know what? How many words did I counted that you used 3 on me? I almost got the 4th one. And that's when I knew to pull back because then it got to be a point like, you know, I'm taking advantage of my friendship with Roland. And now it's like I'm forcing Roland to do something. And I like, because I saw you at the award show. I saw you at the award show and you went by me like I wasn't even there. You're like, hey, bro, I'm busy. I'm like, hey, bro, we both here at the award show. Your seats is better than mine. But don't act like that, Roland. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. You know?
See, look is one of them words. The other phrase is, say, man.
That's another one. Hey, bro. Hey, another one's, hey, bro.
Hey, bro.
Hey, bro.
Right.
Hey.
When you understand.
And another one is, I'm going to hit you back.
No, because I'm going to hit you back doesn't have, it doesn't have the same, just like oppressive, like, this it. Like, if you text one more time, it's a problem. It's a problem. One more time. Like the problem, your Wi-Fi freezing right now. What, you on an iPad or something?
No. No, I got the newest of all the new phone. Now that I do got. I ain't technology like you. I know you got all the new technology. I know you probably got a dude on the top of your roof right now with some new stuff. So, because I know you got equipment. I saw Roland out on the golf course to make sure he can do his show on the 9th hole.
Oh, I have.
Like, is he?
I have done broadcasts from. In fact, I was on MSNBC twice. And they called me. One was a Congressman Jim Clyburn golf tournament. And I was like, hey, tournament at 9:30. So if y'all want me at 9:10, I said, I got to do it from the golf course. And you could see the guys in the driving range behind me. And so, hell, MSNBC don't pay me a damn thing. So I ain't about to sit here and interrupt my golf game for y'all ass doing a free hit.
That part. But they needed you when Clyburn was on there. I knew for sure.
Yeah.
And so I saw you out on the golf thing, and you was explaining, kind of like the way you was telling me about my golf swing on this new equipment that you had. You know, I'm gonna tell you how much I follow you. I pay attention to when you lost your bags on all the airlines. I pay attention when you pissed and when you telling people not to fly what and this and that your bag had a dot on it. Hey, bro. I watch Roland Martin.
Listen,
you understand me?
Listen, all the airline people, when I go to the airport now, they like, your golf clubs okay? Did you bring your golf clubs? Because they know if it's one thing, if you want to get me tweeting about your ass and posting on Instagram, let something happen to my golf clubs.
Hey, bro, you are the one of the few black men that don't want no problems from. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna shoot you up. But the words vomit that I'm going to give you is going to put you in a place where you like, hey, bro, it ain't even worth it. You know, here, you fly free, you know.
I told one woman, they made me at Las Vegas airport. They told me the golf bag had a 35-pound limit. I said, y'all a damn lie. I know all the baggage rules. I said, I am 1K Premier. I get 3 bags up to 70 pounds. So the white woman behind the counter, she got indignant, and I said, I'm going to guarantee you're going to hear from your CEO's office. And she was like, well, we look forward to it. I said, no, you not. I said, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
I said, I'm letting you know. I said, I'm warning you right now what's going to end up happening.
And that's that point where those people don't know who Roland Martin is because they haven't done the research. But I guarantee you, if you talk to anybody black, they're going to be like, well, I understand, Mr. Martin, whatever you need.
No, it actually got started by a black dude.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him and I was like, really? I looked at him, I was like, really? And I'm like, dude, I know what the bag limit. He's like, yeah, a golf bag can't be more than 35, 40 pounds. I said, what the hell are you talking about? I pulled up their own stuff on the website. I said, okay, all right. I said, I'm telling y'all, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. I said, I'm just letting y'all know right now. And when I went back, the sisters, now, first of all, let me be real clear. You gonna find some black dudes who like, yeah, I don't know. If I see a black woman, like a black security guard, yo, we in. We in. I ain't lying, the funniest story, this is no lie, it happened in LA. It was NBA All-Star game, and Turner had a party. I was with CNN, and they were tripping because they didn't have the CNN people on the list, and so I was like, we getting in the party. So I got in the party, and so then they had the VIP section, and so I walk up, and the brother's like, you need a wristband. And I said, I'm going to the VIP party. He said, yeah, you need a wristband. And the sister went, excuse me, don't pay him no mind. She said, Mr. Martin, you go ahead and write in. And so me and my wife walk past. So this is all I hear. I told you, little young asses, you don't watch the goddamn news. You know who the hell that is? That's Roland Martin. And you sitting there asking him for a damn band. Mr. Martin, I'm so sorry, Mr. Martin. These damn young ass folks don't watch the damn news. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? I told you, you need to learn how to watch the news so you know who the black people are. She was just casing him up and down. And I was like, and I'm just cracking up laughing.
Here's where I became very interested. You know, I ain't flipped the interview to you. Here's how I became very interested when you was on CNN and MSNBC back in the day, and how you would break people down. You was kind of like, you know, like Malcolm X for journalists. You know what I mean? You were Hey man, the way you would break people down, it was intriguing to me. And I would fold my arms and just look at the TV at this brilliant man just break cats. They're like, who is this dude killing cats like that? And that then, every time I saw you didn't know me then. Every time I saw you at a few events, Louis Carr events and all that.
Right.
I said, what's up, Louis? And I was like, I love your work. I would come up to you and say, I love your work. And then that was it for me. Hey, that was it. I was like, hey, I'm in with Roland Martin. Because I love when people love to debate, but they debate with facts. That's what I love. They come with the receipts, and I have not yet seen you yet without the receipts.
Oh, I ain't gonna get got. I tell them all the time, I'm gonna put cats in rhetorical body bags. Questions from the panel for Gary G. Thang Johnson. Let me see here. Who the most ignorant on this panel? That'd probably be Julian Malvo. Julian, what's your question for Gary? Hey, Gary, you realize I was talking to Red Man, I was talking to Method Man, and Method Man said, say, man, who that red head, that red bone on your show? Man, she be killing it. And so he was talking about Julian. So Gary, say hello to Red Bone Julian Malvo.
I love Red Bone. I love the glasses. I love the hair. I love the smile. I love her brain already looked like she ready to ask me something that I might have to pull out a book.
Well, you might. And then on the other hand, you can just be your funny self. So you were telling people about 50-year-old men who didn't have no checking accounts. So I'm 70. Yeah. What should I look out for?
Well, I guarantee you a woman that's sitting here, if you dating a brother and he ain't got no checking account and he pay all his bills through 7-Eleven, it's a situation. You know,
but I'm
he going up there to get two $500 money orders. We got a situation.
I'm not talking about 7-Eleven. I'm talking about brothers who roll up on little old ladies like me. I mean, I'm a fine little old lady, but I am a little old lady. What should I be looking out for?
Well, I guarantee you, you know, they gonna want to know what kind of cars you have, because, you know, a young cat, he want to know that you got all the new Cadillacs and all the old Cadillacs. And so you just want to look and, huh?
I ain't got no Cadillacs.
Okay, then you gon' then he gonna find out, you know, what kind of, how many bedrooms you got. And that's all what young cats is into. When they date a grown woman, a seasoned woman, when they date that seasoned woman, they know that her house is paid for. They know she got all her paperwork in line. She got that old lawnmower that ain't gonna never cut off.
Or in the words of Dion Cole, vintage.
Vintage.
Vintage woman. Robert Patillo, Robert.
Hey, look, ain't nothing wrong with a seasoned woman. My wife's 12 years older than me. Dr. Malvo, get you one of them young men. They need some nurturing, some caring, and some bringing up. We out there. We out there for
Robert, you know damn well when you met your wife, she probably has 4 or 5 guns, and that's why you went ahead and got with her. You know that.
Actually, she was a New Yorker. She was afraid of guns. On our second date, I bought her a shotgun. That's a true story. You can ask her when you see her. I bought her a shotgun as soon as she moved to Atlanta and a dozen roses, and now we've been married for 13 years.
Oh, so the first gift you gave your wife was a shotgun?
A Mossberg M200 for pistol grip. Hey, look, this is how, as a math heaven, it's worked out ever since. And she ain't shot.
So this the new Bonnie and Clyde. This the new Bonnie and Clyde right here. These,
Hey, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. But look, I got this question for you. One of the hardest things about making black folks laugh is all black folks think they're secretly a comedian. What is your icebreaker when it comes to a new audience, when it comes to introducing yourself to them and kind of breaking that ice and, kind of establishing yourself within a room?
When I go into the room, mostly it's all about me. I go in because I got some problems going on with myself. You know what I mean? I got these man boobs and I'm trying to do some things. So I break the ice with myself. You know what I mean? I'm really dark and I'm never gonna get lighter. And so I break that ice. And then I figure out what's going on in the room. So if there's somebody sitting up front that got something that they shouldn't be sitting up front in, they get it. And so I kill a few people in the audience just to make sure that don't nobody else should be around. So that's how I get it started.
All right, that makes some sense there. Rebecca.
Hey, Gary, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. I love comedy. I think comedians are the last truth tellers that we have. I know there's been a lot of pressure on comedians to filter what they talk about, to not talk about this, but talk about that, and to be generally politically correct. So how do you resist the urge to be politically correct and just be the truth teller that you are?
Maybe about a few years ago, I was talking about, a lot of politics in my act and all of that. And now this year, because a lot of other comics are basically talking about certain things, I just decided, basically just to not have to be politically correct and just talk about myself, So if you got a problem with me, then you don't like me, period, anyway. So it's nothing really, I used to have to say, well, they say, don't say this, don't say that, don't say this, especially when I go inside of white clubs. They don't want this, they don't want that. And I'm like, bruh, I'm only going to be me. You're not paying me enough for me to even screw any of my words anyway. So either you want me to come back or you don't want me to come back. But I do see some black people in here that came in here to see me. So I never change. You know what I mean? I'm too old to change now. You know what I mean? I'm at that age. I'm at that age where I'm still putting water in trays. You hear me? I'm at that age. I ain't got no ice maker.
You did not say he's still putting water in ice trays. Oh,
and I ain't talking about the tray that you do this, clap. I'm talking about, I'm talking about that one.
Oh, it's time for you to get you a new damn refrigerator. All right, y'all. Gary G. Thing Johnson special on All Black is going to drop on Thursday. Be sure to check it out. All right, Gary, be sure to send me the updated golf swing.
It probably ain't going to happen this year, but because everybody I work with, they look like they teaching me wrong. And I'm going to start telling them that Roland Martin told me to do it this way.
Yeah, I trust me. Listen to me. I have your golf swing straight in 60 days. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Because remember, you talking. Look, I got a 3.9 handicap. So I'm just saying, always play. Always tell folk. Don't listen to all them fools be running their mouth. Listen to folk who actually, I'm sorry, it was 4 point, no, we got it. So it's, we good. So we've been smoking hot. I shot a 77 the other day, so,
Let me just say this before you wrap me up like a blanket. Every comedian that I know that played golf with you, they said Roland Martin ain't to be played with. And that's on God. That's on God. And so that's the reason why, Roland, you get invited to all these tournaments.
Well, you know, we gonna do it. We gonna play, and I'll be in Atlanta next week for the Steve Harvey golf tournament. And so, you know, he's an Omega.
I'm actually in Atlanta performing at Uptown next week too.
All right,
the 7th through the 9th.
Well, I'll be there the 4th through the 6th. And I come back on the 10th for Warwick Dunn's golf tournament. And Steve got to know I'm gonna have my brand new Alpha golf bag just for him to peep out. So yeah, I'll be flossing.
Come on now. Thank you, man. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Appreciate y'all.
Going to a break. We come back, talk about the app, folks. Takes you back to Bronzeville, back in the day in Chicago. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
When COVID happened, poor people were dying at a rate already of 800 people a day. Before COVID, if you went to a funeral every single day, it would take you 600 years to attend all the funerals of the people who will die from the ravages of policy violence, poverty, and low wages in America in just 1 year. It would take you 2 years and 19 days to go to all of the funerals of the people that will die today, and oftentimes silence. Nobody talks about this political genocide, but we are determined today to remember their death and be a resurrection of voting power and voice power like never before.
Economic justice and saving this democracy are deeply connected. We, as a nation, must listen to the demands of the poor, who are pushing and will continue to push political candidates and elected leaders to lift from the bottom so that everybody can rise.
We are the poor, the marginalized, and the underpaid. And we are taking one step forward to say that everybody has a right to live.
Poverty is not the fault of those who are impoverished. It is caused by those who make the policy.
There are over 135 million poor and low-wage, low-income people in this nation.
The biggest block of potential voters by far is low-income, low-wage voters.
I can't afford medicine. Sometimes I have to skip because of the cost.
The farm worker community is tired of the violence imposed upon us by greed, exclusion, and denial of basic human rights.
Those folk that represented by that casket, poor and low-wage workers who are the most moral people in this country because they go to work every day believing, even though going to work is hazardous to their health.
I'm tired of working 70 to 80 hours a week and still not have money for the necessity of bills. I'm tired of getting sick and not being able to go see the doctor. Having to make a choice to pay between rent or the light bill or food or clothes.
You cannot claim to care about families and a culture of life and then do everything in your power to rob people of equal access to resources and to force them to live in poverty.
Leadership of both parties have waged war on poor people and low-wage workers.
And this government has treated people experiencing poverty, including their military families, with disdainful, deliberate, malicious neglect.
So the truth is that my son died from poverty.
We refuse to accept poverty as the fourth leading cause of death.
The fourth leading cause of death in this, the richest country in the world.
We march today for our children and the generations to come.
And we need to do it with the loudest voices possible, the biggest actions possible.
We will voice our demands and register our vote.
When we stand up and when we stand together, things change.
There is the electorate that is, and then there is the electorate that should be.
34 million eligible poor and low-income voters did not vote in 2016. If just 20% of those voters in swing states were mobilized around an agenda, they could change the political outcome of every election. So we're launching the most massive voter mobilization and turnout campaign in history of poor and low-wage voters, allies, and religious leaders.
People are dying, but we know it doesn't have to be this way. And so we are calling on everyone to join us in this Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival.
We are here, we will be seen, we will be heard, and our power will be felt. We don't need to be an insurrection. We are a resurrection that will be felt across this country. Are you ready? 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 We are a resurrection, and we are ready. And we won't be silent anymore.
Farquhar, executive producer, Proud Family. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
What was it like living on the south side of Chicago in the 1920s and the 1940s in the Bronzeville area? It was the culture hub of Chicago. Well, two brothers, Donald and Philip Jones, have launched what they call Time Machine Bronzeville. It's an app, a desktop app that gives you an immersive journey through the rich history of this South Side community. Donald and Philip join us now from Atlanta. Gentlemen, glad to have you with us. How did this idea start? Who did it originate with?
Time Machine Bronzeville comes out of our appreciation for where we come from, for the rich history of the South Side of Chicago. It's also about the recognition that we have of the vanishing cityscape and the loss of the stories about this time and place as the older people pass away. It's also an opportunity for us, Don and I, to tell these stories from the most intimate sources, the people who witnessed and participated themselves in this time and place, and to use the capabilities of game engine technologies and communications technologies to innovate ways of telling these stories and to engage audiences from middle school through boomer generation in the lived experiences and the anecdotes and stories that come out of people's actual lives.
So walk us through this. And so what are we going to see? Is it going to be homes? Is it going to be music? Is it going to be shops? What are the different things that people experience?
Yeah. So the whole idea of the app is to transport you back to that vanished cityscape of Bronzeville, south side of Chicago, between the world wars, when all this big flood of Black folks were coming into Chicago from the South. I mean, the Great Migration changed everything across the country and in large measure shaped Chicago and other urban areas. So when somebody, when one launches Time Machine Bronzeville, you enter through this foyer that you see here, and the first thing you see is this large diorama in the middle of this gallery space with a recreated cityscape of how it was with all the animation and activity as it was back then. The buildings, the Regal Theater, the Savoy Ballroom, the Metropolitan. And so we take you to the cityscape. And then we also take you to the various story worlds along the gallery walls where you're transported into the barbershop or the beauty shop or the various venues, and you're able to hear these first-person accounts. So much of what we have used foundationally in Time Machine Bronzeville is authentic archival material. We really feel it's important that we tell our own stories. You know, if we don't tell our own stories, other folks might, and we might not like the way they tell it. And that's what's happened traditionally through history. So we're telling the stories that we heard that our parents knew and that we knew about growing up in this community.
Questions from the panel. Rebecca, you first.
So first, I really love this, seeing how you all show examples of typical Black life in Bronzeville, in Chicago. So my question for you, what does this look like for other communities as well? The ability to make a three-dimensional rendering that also have those first-person accounts on history, so people understand, once again, the contributions that Black Americans have played in this country, and to even show, hey, this is what it looked like before the riots came and ravaged many of our communities. We were flourishing, we were thriving. So is there any talk about doing this for other communities, even outside of Chicago?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Don.
I mean, that's our ambition. I mean, we see Time Machine as a franchise, and the first installment, Bronzeville, but you know, we see a Time Machine, Sweet Auburn Avenue in Atlanta, or Beale Street Blues in Memphis, or Cleveland, or Detroit. I mean, all of these communities were impacted the same way by the Great Migration, and just as every one has a story, so does every place. And so we encourage, you know, to patronize Time Machine Bronzeville with the hope that, you know, we'll get to the next one and the next one and the next one.
Julianne?
I'm a native of San Francisco, and you know, the Fillmore was our area where you could hear a dollar turnover in a minute. Fillmore now has been totally eviscerated as gentrification, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Have you looked at San Francisco? I hear what you're saying. Look at Isabel Wilkerson's Warmth of Other Suns. People don't really look at California so much as places where Black people were. But you know, there was a brother who actually was the mayor and like a big investor, Mr. Liesendorf. So are you looking at California as a possibility? And if you're not, holla, I will help you.
Well, we'd be glad to talk about it.
Absolutely. You know, the way from Louisiana to Oakland was a main thoroughfare for the Great Migration. So we're well familiar with that rich history in the Bay Area.
And as Don mentioned, so much of Time Machine Bronzeville is grounded in the archival materials that we and many other people have researched. We've also done extensive oral histories on our own, particularly with our mother, Dorothy Mallory Jones, who was a witness and participant in this time and place. And so we start with what we know best, what we have most access to. But other communities have their own history, their own archives, their own content experts that we are more than happy to collaborate with.
Robert?
This is such an outstanding project. I used to live at 47th and Drexel, so right there at the intersection of Bronzeville and Hyde Park. And one thing that came to mind working with John Adams and some members in the community there on the Major Taylor Memorial that we're trying to get in place in that area. Have you guys put any work into explaining how we lost so much in those communities. Because when I think about places like South Fulton, Atlanta, DeKalb County, and the suburbs, Prince George's County, these affluent Black suburbs that we have now, I think the story has to be told of how we lost so much Black wealth in places like Bronzeville, places like Tweed Auburn and Harlem, and around the country, so that maybe the next generation cannot make the same missteps that previous generations made, and losing those communities and losing what we built up over generations.
Well, the time period for Time Machine Bronzeville is intentionally restricted to between the world wars, partly for that very reason, because after the war, it started to change. And then by the 60s, it was in steep decline. It is coming back. And there was another part to your question.
Well, just simply, should we be teaching the part of what caused that decline so that we can better understand how we can preserve affluent Black neighborhoods we have now? It's kind of studying the fall of the Roman Empire so that when we see this arising in America, we don't allow it to happen again.
Part of what we're also doing in Time Machine Bronzeville is presenting the modes that the African Americans on the south side of Chicago employed to create and sustain community. So in our history, we have answers to many issues and questions and problems. And fundamentally, the solutions devised and developed on the south side during that period had to do with cooperation, collaboration, mutual assistance and support, making organizations to solve our own problems. We have venerable organizations and institutions in our community, and they originated in churches, social organizations, the clubs, and so on. And we have, in the past, found ways to solve our problems with what we have at hand. And so part of what we're trying to do with Time Machine Bronzeville is present those and make that clear that we do know how to do things and to take care of ourselves. We just have to recognize those and get to work and employ them.
All right, then. Gentlemen, folks can download this app, Google and Apple Store?
If you just search Time Machine Bronzeville, we launched it on Steam, which is the premier indie game development platform. Okay. And so it'll take you right to Steam, right to Time Machine Bronzeville. But I think it's really important that we as a community try to support Black game development. Right now, the gaming is kind of marginalized to white people.
Right.
But we have stories to tell, and there are innovative ways to tell them using this game technology.
All right, then. Well, gentlemen, look, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so very much. Julian, Robert, Rebecca, always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so very much. I will see y'all soon. Folks, that is it for us. Don't forget, support us in what we do. Join the Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Stud Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV, and of course, be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, The Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available at bookstores nationwide. If you missed the rally today with President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris announcing their Black outreach effort, we're going to be restreaming that right after this show. And so if you missed it, you can actually check it out. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla! Work is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you
for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?